Welcome to the Beyond the Leash podcast, your number one source for everything canine. Eric Straetmans has you covered on the latest training tips, techniques, and more. No more clicker training bullshit, constantly bribing with treats. Just balanced dog training that works. Now, here's your host, Eric Straetmans.
Well, hello. My name is Eric Straetmans, owner and head trainer at Beyond the Leash Canine Training. You may have noticed, if you're a regular listener, that our intro has changed. It changed on the last one. And the problem is this modest podcast is developed to, we get 15 to 20,000 listeners every week now. And there has been some big changes here at Beyond the Leash. And I thought that I better explain it, because not everybody's in here on a regular basis. Not everybody's talking to me. A lot of people are probably out there wondering, where did Melissa go? So I had to do a single episode just on the changes, what's happening, why she's no longer here. I'm not going to get into detail. If you're looking for me trashing Melissa, this is not going to happen. If you're looking for a dramatic shit show episode, I suggest you go watch the Kardashians or Housewives of some sort, because you're not gonna get that here. I'm not going to drag her name through the mud. I love the woman, and I just have to explain what happened. So she's no longer with me and no longer with Beyond the Leash. And I know some of you were on our page. We had an Instagram page that she was running, and she's totally deleted the Beyond the Leash name, and all the videos from there that had myself in it or anything to do with the school, she's deleted, and she changed the name. I don't know, whatever. I wish her all the luck in the world. The whole life is a learning experience. I'm never going to let anyone control any of my social media that I can't get back in a split second. So let's talk about that first. We now have, it used to be BTL Canine Training as our Instagram handle now, and I would love anybody listening to go follow, because we got to build it up to at least to where it was and then try and crush that. It is now BTL Training. So we dropped the K9. We actually may get it back because she dropped the name, so we can get it. But Instagram apparently has some waiting period before you can take the name back or something. But right now, it's BTL Training. It's at BTL Training, not BTL Canine Training. So a lot of people were shocked. We look like the ultimate couple. And we were, and things were great. Again, she's a great woman. I don't want to put her through the ringers. Am I bitter? Fuck yeah, I'm fucking bitter. Especially the way it happened at the end. I'm not going to get into details, but things were done that didn't need to be done. And I also have some people that are screenshotting texts from her, and she's saying a lot of things that just are absolute 100% lies, but let's not go there. So we've been together for almost 5 years. And again, I have to do this because 15,000 to 20,000 people are listening to some of our podcasts. They're like, where the hell did Melissa go? where the people are coming in here now, and she's no longer here. So I have to just spend one episode explaining what's going to happen now that she's no longer here. And just a brief why it ended, I guess. I don't know. So we were a great couple in the beginning, and I have a couple big factors that I think, most of it was just couples grow apart. You grow apart. That's what happens. I mean, it's very rare you meet somebody and you stick with them for your whole life. Couples just kind of grow apart, and maybe the reason you got together in the first place wasn't the right reason. So there's a couple factors. We all know I went through my health problems, and this is just me. I might be wrong here. You might tell her you heard this, and she'll say, that fucking asshole, he's this, he's that. That's not true, but these are just my opinions of why it ended. We did a whole 2 episodes on it, on my health issues. Now, when Melissa first met me 5 years ago, you can look at the pictures. I looked like fucking The Rock almost. I was a monster. I was huge. I was in shape. I just a gigantic man. And that's when we kind of met and got, physically involved. That's what she signed up for. That's fucking what she signed up for. She did not. Then I had my health issues. I was in a coma. I dropped, I don't know, probably 70 to 80 pounds. And then the rehab, and now I'm sick and I got a sick heart. And the rehab was long. And it was basically, especially when I got out of the hospital, she was probably like being with an old invalid old man. And I understand. She stuck with me. That was great. But that's not what she signed up for. She signed up for jacked Eric. She didn't sign up for health problem Eric. So I think whether she would agree with that or deny that, I'm not going to say here and there, but it's got to be a factor. I mean, you know what I mean? You have this guy who is basically could take his shirt off or would take his shirt off everywhere. Now I'm embarrassed to take my shirt off, and I'm getting back a little bit slowly, but you got to understand that's got to be pretty hard on her. So I think that's one of the factors. I think there was another major factor. Both of us, I'm not going to get into details of this, both of us basically stopped drinking and partying. We used to drink a lot before when we first met. For the first year and a half, almost 2 years, probably more than 2 years. We did a lot of drinking. I mean, that was part of the social aspect. And then we both kind of got sober. One of us got 100% completely sober for a reason, and I applaud that. That's a really hard thing to do. But I think when we both got more sober, I think we realized that we really didn't have a whole lot in common. A whole lot in common for anything, for values, politically, the idea of raising kids, which is really her job because it's her kids, but just the whole thing. We were just different people. And when you're drunk every night, you don't realize you're fucking different people. So if any of you are in a relationship right now and you think you have a great time because you're smashed or high or whatever you are, I challenge you to drop that for about 5 weeks and see, do I even really like being in the same room as this person? So this was all Melissa's idea. I'm the kind of guy, I really want to believe in love, and I want to go all avenues and try everything. I'm an old fashioned a little bit with that stuff. In the first date, I brought flowers for her on our first date. I open car doors. I do stuff like that. I'm very old fashioned. So I really believe in the whole love thing, and I'm the kind of guy that will try until I literally expel everything in me for this relationship. I think she's had this plan for a while. And again, this isn't me saying she's a bad person. What am I going to do if one person falls out of love? There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can fucking do. So that's where it's probably better off that you split up. Do I still have feelings? Of course. I would hope she still has feelings, but I think she just wants to move on, cut her ties, all that stuff. So what is going to happen now that she's gone? First off, Beyond the Leash has been mine for forever. And I've always had girlfriends, sidekicks, whatever. It's me. And I'm never, ever, ever. The one thing I'm not going to do is let people fuck with this. And I got a bunch of little sound bites here. I love Gary Vee. He's a big motivational guy. So here's what you realize. This is really, really important.
What you need to do is make one person happy, you. Then you can make everybody else happy.
So the first thing I got to do is realize, hey, that's not part of my life anymore. Her family isn't part of my life anymore. There's going to be some legal things we got to go through now because we weren't technically married, but there is, some property or whatever, but that's neither here nor there. But here's one thing I realized, and this is what anybody listening to us, like, The school, what's going to happen with the school? Nothing's going to fucking happen with the school. I've been running this school for 25 years with and without people. And one thing I just realized when I thought about this, and anybody listening that knows, when I first went to the Streetsville school, which was going on a little over 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, that, as far as my intermediate and advanced classes, that was when the advanced dogs were the fucking best. I probably had the best group of advanced students in Canada. I mean, I could name off a bunch of them. We had Bentley. We had Winston. We had Leo. We had Bosco. We had... I'm trying to think of all the names. It's a long time ago, so I'm missing some of the dogs' names. Incredible advanced dogs. Ed, Sydney, both Dobermans. Lexi, she's a little bit faded out just before that, but we actually had a dedicated, absolutely 100% dedicated advanced class. And in that advanced class, the rule was you weren't allowed to bring a leash in through the door. Everybody had to be off leash. And not only did we do off leash stuff, we did full classes where the dogs were what we called naked training. I haven't got to do that in forever. And what I started to realize, and now we're good. We're still better than every fucking school around, but our advanced dogs, and for anybody listening, let's give a shout out. We got a handful. When I say a handful, maybe 4 to 5 that I would consider actually considered 100% advanced dogs. You're talking about dogs like Maya, like Riley. I don't want to leave anybody out here. Like Janu. Definitely German Shepherd Maya. So we got Roddy Maya, German Shepherd Maya. And there's got to be a few more I'm missing that are just 100% off-leash reliable dogs. Back 5 or 6 years ago, we had dedicated classes. Okay, this Tuesday night at 7 is only for advanced dogs, and we wouldn't even let the intermediate come. I haven't been able to do that in a few years because we really don't have enough of that group. Now, the people that know the great dogs that come here now, some of the better end. Oh my God, I almost forgot Zoe. Zoe's been through the whole thing, so Zoe's mom would even know. She used to be a small fish in a big pond. Now she's a big fish in a small pond. What I mean by that is we don't have as many advanced classes, like advanced dogs, where we don't even have enough where I would dedicate a whole class just to advance because, you have 1 or 2 a week. 3 or 4 dogs are going to show up. That's no good. So I've been mixing them for the last little while. And the other day I was sitting at home thinking, why has this gone to the point where the dogs were so much better 5 or 6 years ago? And it dawned on me that what was 5 or 6 years ago when I met Melissa? I'm not going to say she's the problem. I'm the problem. Here's the problem. Before Melissa, this school, and trust me, it's always been really, really important to me. I've always put a lot of work into it, a lot of effort. But before Melissa, this was my 100% number one priority was Beyond the Leash. I put blood, sweat, and tears into here. Everything I thought, slept, ate was Beyond the Leash canine training. I put my ass in the school a lot more. When I met Melissa, there was, a little bit of social time. There was her family. That became really important. I'm not saying Beyond the Leash became unimportant, but that became something else that was taking away from my time here. Now I barely even work. I barely even run classes. It's Saturday, Sunday, and Monday night. So I thought, what's the difference? Why did I have classes back then? And again, I'm leaving out 20 or 30 dogs. If you get a Maya, either of the Mayas and a Riley in here, they would have been on the low end back 5 years ago. Like they would have been in the advanced classes, but they would have probably been on a lower end because we had dogs that were with us that were so much longer times in here, and I personally spent more time with. So I thought to myself, what's the difference? The difference is my involvement in the school. I'm going to go back to the way it was, where I had my nose in here all the time. Some of my trainers in here are probably going to get a little pissed off. And anything you're going to be successful, again, we're going to go back to Gary V here. anything you're going to be very successful at, it's your passion, you should follow it. But what I'm saying is 5-6 years ago, there was more involvement in me in the school.
Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what do I want to do every day for the rest of my life? Do that.
And that's what I'm going to do again, because that's what it was like for the first building up this school. And then again, I don't want to say it wasn't important, but other things became part of the priority that took away from this school. So you're going to find myself in here teaching a lot more classes, a lot more novice classes. You're going to find myself in here during the intermediate and advanced a lot more often. Again, I'm still going to have my team. I love my team. I need my time off. I can't possibly train every day. But everybody in here is going to find me around a whole lot more and a whole lot more novice classes that I'm doing. Couple other things. I kind of don't want to make this public yet, but I found a place here. It's a condo, nice 2-floor stacked townhouse. And because I'm moving, of course, and we're eventually going to sell the house, but whatever. I don't want to get into too much of that. And I found this place, and I got the option to buy. I'm leasing it for a year with an option to buy, and it's fucking 3 minutes from here. And it's brand new. It's just built. Nobody's even lived in this place. So it's really modern. It's really nice. It's got underground parking. And it's pet friendly, which is one of the main things I was looking for. 2 things were important: in-suite laundry, which this one has, and pet friendly. And it's 2 floors. It's got 2 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms in the whole place. It's fucking fantastic. So things are going to change in here. There's going to be a lot more of me putting my nose where it belongs into my business. Now, the worst thing about this whole situation, the whole thing, I'm losing a woman I was in love with, whatever. That's neither here nor there. I'm losing my dogs. And we all know Beppe was mine. She passed away a couple months ago. God rest her soul. But the other 2 were kind of Melissa's doing. We never really said whose dogs they were, but they're really Melissa's dogs. So the fact that I'm going to lose Gia and Ammo is kind of a big deal. Gia was my superstar demo dog, just like Beppe was always before her. That's going to be hard. Ammo, I was working on that. I don't know what's going to happen there. I know my film crew has reached out to Melissa because we're not contacting each other at all. And she said Ammo could still finish because we're doing the online course, and we were 2 lessons away from finishing with Ammo. I don't know what we're going to do because I can't even train him daily anymore. I miss the guy like crazy. He used to sleep on my face, whatever. So that's the biggest problem. I'm actually losing my dogs, so you won't see those dogs around here anymore. But I specifically went to a place that was pet friendly and somewhere I thought I could be for a while and somewhere that was close to the school. So I don't know if it's going to be in 2 months or I don't know if it's going to be in 6 months, but I'm going to have to get another dog because I can't be Eric Straetmans, the dog trainer, without a dog. And I'm 51 with heart disease, so I don't really want to go through the puppy thing. I want to get an older dog. Well, not older, but 2-3 years. I want to rescue a dog. And I'm actually thinking about doing some kind of YouTube show, whatever, where I show the whole process of me going to get the dog. Well, I'm going to visit a bunch of dogs and break them down and make a short list, say what I'm looking for, why this is important to me. And then we're going to get a dog, and then maybe I'll start training that one and filming that. Who knows? But then that dog will become the new Beyond the Leash demo dog. What about the podcast? You guys are all used to hearing Melissa on here, and she was great on here. She had a little bit of talent. She was pretty funny at times. We just bantered back and forth really well. What is going to happen with this podcast? Of course, it's going to keep going. I'm not going to tell you. I put a lot of work into this. I put a lot of effort into this. And again, we have 15 to 20,000 listeners some weeks. So, and it's always growing. We want to get at the point where there's 100,000, maybe 500,000. It's always, always growing. So we're going to keep this going. It's just the format's going to change a little bit. If anybody out there is a sports fan, we all know the show, Sid and Tim, which started out on Headline Sports years ago, or whatever it was called. And then they went to Rogers on the radio, then they went to Rogers on TV, and they bounced back and forth, and they're pretty popular. And then about a year ago, it's Tim McAuliffe and Sid Sixero, anybody that, and they were like a good team. Like they had the kind of straight man, funny man kind of thing, whatever. And they had this show that was pretty popular. And I don't think we're anywhere near that popular, but we were pretty popular. And then Sid Sixero had gone to Breakfast Television. He's now one of the main hosts on Breakfast Television. So he left that show. And now the show is still there, but what it's called now is Tim and Friends. So Tim's there, and he has different guests on all the time. So what we're going to do with the podcast, I already reached out and talked to all my team. I have ex-apprentices that are out doing their own thing. Jen Broadbent, she's been on the show a couple times. I reached out to her. My trainer, Steph, in here. And a lot of my trainers, the ones that have been here a while, are already doing their own part-time work and their own dog training company name. So what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the guests. This is probably going to be the last one that you hear my boring voice by myself. I'm probably the most knowledgeable, but hearing the guy talk to himself is kind of boring. We're going to have a rotating every week. You'll see a rotating of either Jen, Steph, Nerese, Lee, Dan, Andrew would have, but maybe I can still get him on the phone. Andrew's moved to BC. And even my apprentices are going to come on here. So we're going to have rotating guests, and it'll be good because everybody's going to put a little something different into it. Everybody's going to have a little different flair, different style. So you're always going to have Eric, of course, because it's the Beyond the Leash podcast, and I am Beyond the Leash. And we're always going to have some kind of guest host. We'll always have our guests from outside of here as well. Still got to get a groomer on here. I've never had a groomer. We'll bring out our resident vet every once in a while, and I'll bring in other people just like we always have. But this time it'll be sans Melissa, without Melissa. The school itself, what's going to happen there? Well, Melissa really wasn't part of the training staff. She helped out once in a while. If somebody needed a day off or whatever, she was really running the store. The store is still going to happen. I'm a smart man and I'm not stupid. Right now, if you buy something from the store, it's going to her business account or her e-transfer. And I'm going to wait because right now the store is full of product that she would have bought with her money. And I've already got plans. The store is still going to be there. It might not be as much stuff. I'm probably going to keep bringing in the... I'm probably going to keep bringing in the raw food for those of you that buy raw food from you. I don't know if it'll be the same two brands. It's definitely going to be Big Country. I don't know if I'm going to go with another one or stay with the other one, whatever the name is. I can't remember. So nothing's going to change here. Nothing. Things are going to change here. It's going to be Eric putting more his nose where his nose should be. I'm going to run this more like it was in the old days. It's going to be a lot of me. Again, my staff is fantastic. I would never want to get rid of my staff, and I do need days off. So you're going to see a lot of changes as far as how much effort I put into here. And that's really what it should have been. I never should have drifted from that, and I apologize. But that's it. And again, was this a very interesting podcast? Probably not. But I just wanted to say where we were and what's going to happen with the podcast and what's going to happen at the school. So that's all I wanted to do for this podcast. We've already got some nice topics and guests lined up. Again, you're going to hear me with another guest host every single time, and they'll be rotating. It'll all be our trainers. And that's it. So hopefully everybody keeps listening. We're going to try and make it as interesting as fuck and way more informative. We're going to visit more topics. We want those questions. Remember, join the BTL training, not BTL canine training. It's now BTL training. Join that. We want to get that up. Bring in your questions because we're always going to revisit the Ask the Trainer episodes. We're going to make as many guests. We're going to come on and do as much as we can. I'm going to stick with this one because this is one me and Melissa started to end the show. We have this calendar. We're going to continue with, I'm just going to put them random. Sometimes they're boring. Sometimes they're not. They're just random facts out of a calendar about dogs, and we're going to end it that way. So this one is actually from Sunday, April 24th. I don't know if that matters. A 2011 study in the Journal Scientific Reports found that dogs will make puppy eyes when they know humans are watching. So that's an actual scientific study. So, you know what, dogs, I don't even need to read that. Anybody with a dog knows they know how to get your way by giving the little puppy eyes. Oh, mommy, daddy, give me some treats, or don't give me crap anymore. So that's, I don't know if you needed a study with that. You could have just asked me. So that's it. Again, expect it to be a little bit different. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, download, all that stuff. Again, we're going to work on this. We're going to keep it up and keep going. Thank you for this boring episode, but we're going to have a lot more interesting to come. Take care. See you next Tuesday.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Beyond the Leash podcast. We hope you learned something valuable today. For more information or to connect with Eric, check us out at beyondtheleash.ca. We'll see you next time.